Hello and welcome to Queendom TV. Now, guys, I'm going to be talking finally about this whole MNEK situation with regards to Jesy. If you guys don't know what this is all about, check out my Jesy Nelson playlist where you can catch up with what's happening and get a whole scoop. But I'm not going to explain it in this video because a lot of us know what's going on, and I will be continuing to post every day at 9 my latest Jesy videos. And thanks again to all of you lovely individuals. Thank you guys for all your support and understanding as well with my video that came out late yesterday. My gosh, I'm so sorry about that, guys. I really like to be on time, and it just took like hours. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the video. So MNEK was one of the subjects that came up quite a lot from you guys, because obviously he I think produces and co-writes with the girls. He co-wrote Sweet Melody, which is a bit of a triggering moment for me now based on finding out what happened behind the scenes. I kind of talked about that in one of the other videos, and I want to address this. And I kind of want to address it and put it alongside and kind of compare his response to all of this with Nicki Minaj, because both of them are Black people who are high up in the entertainment industry. Obviously, I've already talked about race in another video, so if you guys want to hear about race, blackfishing, all of that, I addressed that all in my video before this one, so check that out. Now, I'm going to start off by reading a tweet that he made on the day of the release of Jesy's song Boys. Now, I must say, guys, that when I discovered that he did this on the day of her single release, I had a lot of thoughts, which I'm going to get into, but I'm going to read you guys what he said. A lot of you already know this, so sorry if I'm re-triggering you having to hear this again. He says, "From the heart, I just want to take this time to promote some talented Black, in capitals, female artists who I feel deserve more of the shine than others. Than others are getting." And before "are getting," he has in brackets, "others being white people. Yes, get uncomfortable." Guys, when I read this, right, and when I read this, I don't know how else to say this other than the fact that it reeks of insecurity and jealousy. Now, do I necessarily feel that I think MNEK is jealous in the same way as Leanne? Not really, because they kind of got slightly different careers. Obviously he's an artist, an independent artist, also producer, writer, etc. But I feel like it's this part where he says, I feel deserve more of the shine than others. And if you guys remember in my previous videos, and I actually did a video before I'd even looked into a lot of the stuff you guys sent me, I made a video talking about my theory based on just my vibe I was getting, right? And my theory about Leanne, and you guys can check that video out. I talked in there about how I feel like, Leanne's deep down, what Leanne feels like is she feels like she deserves what Jesy has. Whether she's saying that or not, that's my opinion. That's my theory, right? I called it a theory. And I feel like, again, MNEK just proved exactly what I said. It's this whole deserving thing, deserves more of the shine. What is that about? What is that about? I think, honestly, if I'm being honest, I'm just going to say now that the way that I feel a lot of people are fighting for who deserves the shine or whatever, it doesn't have to be just Black people, I think you're actually making the group that you're trying to support look worse. Because to me, this is embarrassing. To me, as a Black person. As a Black person, it is embarrassing that he's here saying others being white people, yes, get uncomfortable. Why should white people have to get uncomfortable, especially when the majority of the people who are going to be reading his tweets are not people who have the power to put, Black artists more on the scene? Do you know what I mean? Majority of the people who are going to read his tweets are going to be his fans and other people's fans and people who may have all the best intention in the world but can't do much, to support. And so I feel like, to me, again, and this is just me, I'm not a qualified psychologist or anything like that, but this is what I perceive is happening. And the reason why I'm prepared to make a suggestion, because I talk about how, I don't think it's good to, to just talk about people for nothing. But I'm going to talk about this on purpose because I feel like there's lessons to be learnt here. And I always say that if I feel like we can learn lessons, let's discuss, right? And also, he had no problem throwing shade. Now, I must say and I must address that he didn't use any names. So we can't say for certain he was talking about Jesy. But he did say in another tweet, "You're white, can we grow up and stop being weirdos?" And he talked about, blackfishing or whatever, which again, she's clearly not blackfishing. I explained what blackfishing really was in my previous video, so please check that out. Previous video, I mean in the Jesy Nelson playlist. The fact that he released it on the day of her single, again, it's like, to me, the same way that I saw Leanne seeing people supporting Jessy's stuff and it bothering her is the same way I'm seeing MNEK A seeing people supporting Jessy's stuff and it bothering him, and him having to say, "I feel we deserve more of the shine, yada, 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 yada." Like, first of all, right, you could have, if you felt that black people deserve more of the shine, you could have done that without making that about going against white people. Like, the thing I feel about so many of these like social action things and so many things that we support today is like, why do we have to be beating somebody else? Why do we have to be beating somebody else up to build ourselves up? Do you know what I mean? I don't believe in that. I don't believe in breaking somebody else down to build me up. If I need to break somebody else down to build me up, then I need to find a different way to build myself up. He could have easily done whatever he wanted to do to support black artists. I don't think that's a bad thing. And I do think, and I'd have to make this so clear, that I do believe there are issues and biases for people of color in the industries, in different ways, right? And personally, I feel like a lot of those things are more, I blame more the gatekeepers of Hollywood, or Hollyweird as I like to call it, the people who are in control of labels, who are in control of radio stations or TV channels or labels, stuff like that. I more blame the people who get to choose what's happening than I do the public who's just appreciating whatever's being thrown at them. Because if you think about it, guys, let's be honest, like, I'll give you a perfect example. Afrobeats has become a really popular music style, and I actually believe that the reason why that's happened is not because people were there trying to hate on Afrobeats before. It's because maybe they just never heard of them before, and now because so many people have dedicated themselves to putting that music out there and trying to make people enjoy that music, now people are interested in it. Now it's its own dance category. Now in a lot of professional dance settings, people actually acknowledge it as a dance style, and now also it's acknowledged as its own music style. In fact, there's Afro swing, there's Afro fusion, there's all these different things, right? So again, putting things out to the people, I feel like just causes more division. When I see tweets like this, I feel bad for white people, honestly. I know some people are going to feel like I sound like such a sellout by saying that, but the reason why I feel bad for white people is, it's something that I always say. I don't know if I say this enough, but at least I'm saying it now, that none of us can help how we were born. I talked about this in and I was talking about the royal family, and I was saying that, I feel bad that people are hating on Harry for having money or needing so much money, because he can't help that he was born into the royal family. I can't help that I was born black. Somebody else can't help that they were born white. Wherever you're born from, you can't help that. So to make somebody feel bad because of a situation they can't help, I think is problematic. Truthfully, in my opinion, I feel like in this world we live in, especially for those of us who live in like the UK and the US, who are those of us who live in the Western world, it is so easy to support yourself and do what you want to do. You want to be an artist, start uploading videos. You got so many different social media platforms. Even Twitter now, I saw today, Twitter now is saying that you can do lives on Twitter, right? So now you can even do lives on Twitter. There are so many ways you can promote yourself on social media. You've got TikTok, you've got Instagram. These things are like not even costing you much. Back in the day, people used to have to go out and sell their CDs. A lot of the famous people today, they used to go and print off their CDs and have to go and do things in person. Nowadays, if you put in a lot of effort and if you stick to something, you're consistent, you're talented, and you practice and you do, and you can, you're, in my opinion, you're like, it's part of your purpose, because I believe it has to be part of your purpose. But anyway, then you can become successful today. And I feel like so many people are spending so much more time complaining about and waiting for somebody else to step in and solve their problem than just creating the solution yourself. Like, for example, think about Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is a black guy who owns, and he is a guy, again, he's also a person of God, he's also a man of faith, hallelujah, And he is somebody who saw the things that Black people were not able to do, or saw the injustices or the things going against, you know, the community. And instead he said, you know what, I'm going to create my own opportunity. I'm going to put Black people on this on the TV screen. I'm going to go into the community and give opportunities to young Black folk. That's what people should be doing. If you're that concerned, this is what I will be doing. If you guys want to see what my way of dealing with the injustices I ever see for Black people, whatever, you'll see it from the things that I do, and the ways I choose to give my time to actually creating opportunities myself. And I can say this because, as I've said before, I had my own dance group, and I started that dance group for Black women, not because I had anything against any other kind of women, but because I recognized, as a young Black person who wanted to do dance from a young age, I saw the issues that I faced trying to be in the dance industry, and how there were certain things that I realized were common along other Black women who wanted to do dance. And so I've created the opportunity myself, right? And that's something I'm still going to be working on in different ways and expanding, because I realized, you know what, it's not just Black people. Part of the reason why I had to take a pause, and I might talk about in another video why I took a pause from the entertainment industry. If you guys want to know, let me know if you actually want to know about that. But, you know, because I realized that as much as the problems are there for Black people, there are problems across the board, you know. And that's why I feel like trying to make people feel bad, we can't all do everything. We really can't. I really feel like a lot of this social action stuff today makes us all feel like we have to be able to fully understand everything that everybody is going through and be doing something every day to benefit every single thing. I don't believe that's how it works. Personally, I believe that God gives us each our own purpose, and our purpose is like our part to play in the bigger, like I have a little section. If you imagine that all the problems of the world are like a puzzle, right? I have a puzzle piece, and that my destiny is my puzzle piece. And as long as I do my puzzle piece and everybody else does their puzzle pieces, all the solutions of the world will be solved, because we can't all do all of them, right? So when I see things like MNEK stepping up and saying, deserves more of the shine, if you feel people deserve more of the shine, create the shine. Are you not MNEK? Like, for me, he was somebody who I knew of, like, you know, and I once really supported his music and stuff like that, you know, like, not like I really supported it, but there was a few songs of his that I actually liked, you know. And to me, it's like, if you think people deserve the shine, create the shine. Why don't you go and say, you know what, for the whole of 2022, every single month I'm going to collaborate with an underrated, you know, Black artist. You know, so many of the things that people speak up against, especially people who have bigger platforms, because mind you guys, I'm here with my little baby platform, like giving it everything, trying to speak against stuff, right? And I think often about, like, you know what, if my platform was bigger, if I could do certain things, there's certain things I would do, because stuff like MNEK, do you know what I would have done if I was him? And it was that October where he's talking, which somebody pointed out in one of the articles I was reading about all of this. They said that this is obviously in the UK's Black History Month, because in the UK October is Black History Month. Do you know what he could have done? Do you know what he could have done? He could have, every single day of Black History Month, he could have been highlighting a new artist and telling all his fans to go and stream. He wants them all to reach 10,000 listens each day and pick out 31 different, you know, underrated Black artists. Or him say, you know what, for this Black History Month, I'm running a competition. I wanna collaborate with 5 Black artists. Anybody who I'm gonna put out your videos, and fans, go and check out who you like. Whoever gets the highest 5 likes of independent people, I'm gonna support them. And maybe he's done certain things similar to this. I could be off, right? But even still, even if he has, those are the things he should be focusing on. People, rather than feeling sorry for ourselves, this is the way I look at it. Rather than feeling sorry for myself, I create the opportunity that I need. That's how I look at, that's how I live my life now. That's what I feel like God has taught me, because it's like, are you gonna be upset that somebody else isn't doing it for you? That just sounds dumb. And that's why I feel like it comes from jealousy, because if we're thinking about things in a logical manner, then you would just do that. You would just go and create that opportunity. So many people just do that. Tyler Perry did that. Tyler Perry didn't sit there feeling like a victim. Tyler Perry said, you know what? I'm creating the opportunities myself. and I'm going to be the one who's directing, and I'm going to be the one who's seen all the issues from the industry, because so many of us, right, I've had some experience in the entertainment industry, but I haven't been like, you know, high level in the entertainment industry. Just from the experience that I've had, it's taught me so much, and it's given me so many tools that I can use for work I want to do. And that's why I've taken ownership of the things that I want to change myself. And if I want to change them, I do them. That's why I have a YouTube channel. Rather than expect somebody else to speak up about it, I'm going to speak the flip about things myself. I'm going to use my mouth to talk. Do you know what I mean? Me. So for him to say this, for him to say, you're white, can we grow up and stop being weirdos? Why are we calling people weirdos? I think that's really unhelpful. Like, that's super unhelpful. That's super unhelpful. And this whole, yes, get uncomfortable, that kind of energy, I don't like it. I don't like it, because you know something, what I realized, I'll tell you guys something, yeah. You see, when they had these Black Lives Matter protests, right? There were 3 of them, like in 2020, I think it was, right? I went to one of them, right? And this is part of what shaped a lot of how I feel. Yeah. And I realized that a lot of people in a lot of different movements, not just Black Lives Matter, right? They're pushing something, but without real specific things that we actually want to get out of it. Like, what is it that we want to achieve? You know, what is it that you want to achieve? How it, like, for example, what is it that these people expect? Like, what is it that he wanted to see as evidence? Like, because the thing is, I'm seeing more and more black artists. I'm seeing more and more black people doing things, in my opinion, from my perspective. I'm seeing more and more people actually out there, and black people and people of color in general, you know, being recognized. You know, so to me, that's just a bit weird. And the reason I wanted to mention Nicki in this video, I'm going to do a separate video, I think, maybe about Nicki, the whole interview, right? Because I don't know if it's going to be worth a whole video by itself, but it might be. An interesting thing that I noticed about Nicki Minaj that was pointed out in one of these articles that I was reading is the fact that Nicki collaborated with Little Mix in 2018, which I didn't know. And I can't remember the name of the song. It's called Woman Something, right? And the thing that stuck out to me about that is, I wonder if it was whatever Nicki saw in 2018 that led her to be so interested in supporting Jesy now. Like, I wonder if she saw, because a lot of us have been saying that we would love to know. You guys, we've been talking in the comments, haven't we, about how we'd all love to know, you know, what it is that Nicki knows, because she seems to know stuff, right? I agree with you guys, and I feel like Nicki must know behind the scenes what some real stuff that's going on, because she seems very quick. She was there with Little Mix, which means if they did a song together, and you know, guys, I like to think in a very logistical way. I think if people do a song together, especially if it's a performance, also because I've been in entertainment and had to do, you know, done my own shows and whatever. So you have to come together and write something. This is all the times, the times that Little Mix and Nicki would have come together, right? You have to come together to write, or maybe you'll have a song written, but then you have to practice. You have to rehearse it together. Then you have to record. Then if you perform together, you have to rehearse for that. You have to perform. So this is a lot of hours you spend with somebody. Now, the nature of the entertainment industry might be that you only spend, that all could take place in the space of like a month. It could even take place in the space of like 2 weeks, because that's the nature of how busy people are and stuff. You know, a lot of projects tend to be like very long days in very short period of times, you know, and stuff like that. In that time, she clearly must have experienced something to cause her so much to side with Jesy in the end. And I really feel that Nicki did the right thing. You know, we talked about sisterhood and female empowerment and all that. I think she's protecting Jesy in the sense of, like, rather than, she probably knows a lot and she's only exposing what Jesy is saying she feels comfortable with Nicki talking about, you know. And I think for Jesy, again, like I said, she's so nice and lovely, so she's tried to do everything not to have to speak against against anybody really negatively. And it's funny, and I just want to address this if there's any, you know, toxic mixers trying to come for me in this video, that some people have pointed out the fact that Jade, Jesy's sister, posted on Instagram, and how I'm not talking about that. I just like to say, I've seen the post. In fact, baddies have sent me the post. I think multiple baddies sent me the post that Jade did, and I've seen it for myself, okay? She was backing up her sister, and she said absolutely nothing wrong, and she has the absolute right to defend her sister against bullying. So please, let's not start doing all of this, and then Jesy's sister said something as well, and me. right? What I'm trying to say is Nicki Minaj seems to know something and have a reason. And I think as well for somebody like MNEK, because the thing is, guys, here, when we're talking about race, in your own race, and I'm sure we all know, right? In all of our own races, we all understand more deeply our own internal issues. And I feel like some of the internal issues that are existing here is the likes of MNEK probably would love to work with Nicki Minaj, right? Maybe they have in the past. I don't think so, right? Maybe they did when they were working with, when he was working with, when she was working with Little Mix in 2018. So maybe a part of why this is all happening the way that it is, sorry. Okay, sorry, just looking outside. Maybe part of the reason this is all happening in the way that it is he's also feeling an element of jealousy. Like, why didn't she pick me up? You know, because it's a big deal. Like, people for Diddy to let Jesy use his song is a big deal. This is Diddy. He's like, not only is he A-list, he is like one of the OGs, one of the, like, you could almost call him a gatekeeper, even in some ways, of the industry. You know, and so for them to recognize Jesy as opposed to other black people, and this is where I think this whole deserving of shine thing is coming up, is why people are so triggered about this. And even the likes, and even MNEK, because like I said, didn't have to say anything, could have kept his mouth shut, could have just supported the black women or black men if that's what he wanted to do. Just do that. There's no need to talk about anything else. Absolutely no need to. No need to rat on Jesy. And let's not forget, right? He benefited off of Jesy because he probably made money from Jesy all these 10 years. And somebody else pointed, I think this is what Nicki said, you know, Nicki said something like how you guys benefited off of, you made millions off of her for years and now this is like what you're going to do or something. She said something to that effect, right? Like, all these people who are coming against her, they benefited off of her voice. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, when I listen to Little Mix, and when I've now had to, now that I've because you know, like when you have a group with Little Mix, when they first all auditioned, obviously you heard them all individually, but then you become so used to hearing them. And although you obviously can pinpoint who's who, them kind of being a cohesive thing, you get used to that, the cohesive sound of them as well. So remembering the sound of Jesy just on her own reminded me how much of a, how much value she added to Little Mix, you know, like she really added a lot of value. And I think that's kind of one of the hidden things that's under all of this, if I'm being totally honest, and this is just my opinion, this is not trying to go against anybody or be rude to anyone. I think hidden under all of this is the fact that, you know, at the end of the day, Jesy added a lot to the group. Vocally, she is one of the great, in my opinion, she's got one of the best vocals I've heard that just naturally can sing, you know. She is so talented, you know. And so, not to say the other girls aren't, by the way, because I know how people misconstrue what people say. I think they're all talented. I mean, they're all there, like, do you know what I mean? But losing somebody like Jesy with her voice, with her uniqueness of her voice as well, because if we're being honest, guys, there's a lot of voices that sound really similar out there in the world today. You know, I feel like what she had was something special. I feel like she was truly gifted. I feel like this was truly her purpose, like I talked about this before. And I think it's the fact that she had so much going for her. Because this is the thing, is why people are so triggered by her. The fact that she's like this big ball of light. She's this big presence. She's this big energy, you know. She's one of those people that I feel like when you see her, she probably seems like she would like, her aura would take up so much space in person because of how, you know, how great her light shines. And you know, people like that, you know, where you experience somebody that's just got really good energy and really talented and you can feel it, right? I feel like that's what is bothering people, that imagine her with all of that aura that she has, her with all that talent that she has, all of that assurance of being comfortable doing what she's doing, and then being so talented, and then her being the one uncomfortable, right? That's why I feel like they wanted to lose her, but they didn't want to lose her. And I feel like in a way, this is why a lot of them, and it's interesting that MNEK co-wrote Sweet Melody, because he was probably particularly irritated around that time, because he's looking at it like it's his song, he wants to do well with that song. He's probably clinging on to his connection to Little Mix because it's helping his career a lot as well. Let's not forget that. So I reckon that's why he's stuck with the rest of Little Mix, because he basically had to do, it's basically a coin toss. I feel like for a lot of them, a lot of people who are connected, producers, managers, whoever, it was like, who are we going to side with? And it's either that you're going to go with your heart, who you think is right, who you want to support. In this case, I kind of feel like Nicki did the same. She previously collaborated with all of the girls, so really she could have just she could have respected everybody. She could have even gone online and said, girls, let's not have this issue. I love both sides of Little Mix, but she very heavily sided with with Jesy, even calling Leanne Jelly. What did she call her? Jelly, yeah. Or whatever she called her. So I think it's important for us to acknowledge that you know, people didn't have to even choose a side. You know, it could have been a coin toss. I feel like with MNEK A, he felt like he was better off. In my opinion, this is my opinion, I think he just thought he was better off with the rest of Little Mix. And I think they really thought that having all this hatred and stuff was really going to work. I don't know if it was the PR team that was pushing it. I don't know if it was just them. But I really feel like it's more them. In the past, in my previous videos, I'd said that maybe it was the PR. Maybe they were doing this. I do think to some extent, because we can't deny it. And again, talking about how Jesy was clearly a loss. As Jesy has left, it's not like their career has now taken off and like Little Mix are better than ever, like what he tried to say, because he tried to say, I think the girls, it's lovely for the girls now, I think the dynamic is really working or something. He said, okay, why was everybody going on a hiatus? And then they tried to make it out like, oh, we were always going to go on a hiatus. Now Leanne's doing solo songs. It's like, all the signs are only showing that it's only more likely that that Jesy was A, such a value to the group, but B, that people were scared to lose her. And I feel like they were scared to lose her because she was such value. And that's why I think a lot of the times they wanted to keep her over the years. You know, like how earlier I talked about one of my previous videos how she wanted to leave before. I feel like before, when she wanted to leave, the reason why they wanted her to stay is because they wanted to keep that Little Mix, you know, group of all of them, and they appreciated her value, you know. And that's why, to a certain extent, you know, with the girls, I feel like they tried their best to put up with her. And I say put up not because I'm putting on her as if it was bad on her part, but I'm saying put up with as in like that's how I kind of feel like they saw it. I feel like they put up with her because they wanted to make sure that like she would stay in the group. And I think things did fall, because when you have somebody who's a great value and a great ball of light and everything, and especially somebody like Jesy, who I reckon it was probably so consistent when it came to like vocals, so reliable when it came to doing stuff like that, I think those kinds of people, when you lose them, it is a big loss. And I don't think they were prepared to. Little Mix was so much quicker, and MNEK and everybody was so much quicker to try and act like, well, this is going to be fine. Obviously, she's doing her thing, but we're going to still go. We're going from strength to strength, yada, yada, yada. That they weren't really addressing the fact that they've had a big loss, you know, and that it isn't going to be the same without Jesy. And I think if they could have just said that and they could have just been cool and understanding, that would have been fine. This whole thing about the race thing and the blackfishing thing, I already discussed it. I don't think we need to discuss why this wasn't blackfishing again. If you guys still disagree with me, check out that video. Like I said already, talking about we need to more promote some talented black female artists. Get them black female artists out there. You know, get them black, even for Jesy, honestly, how many artists out there, black or otherwise, would stay in a group for 10 years just to be able, you know, to have the career? Because she even said in her documentary, remember her saying that she couldn't believe she was having everything that she wanted, and she never thought that this is how it would be. Like, she would be unhappy having everything she wanted, but that she got everything she wanted through Little Mix, you know? Imagine enduring all of this for 10 years, all the pain, all the issues of mental health, all the hate and everything, right? Are other people prepared to persevere the same way she did? Are other artists who want to be deserving the shine, more of the shine? Are they prepared to put in that kind of a work? Because the thing about Jesy is she never gave up on her career. She kept pushing and kept pushing, and she's still pushing now, even now when people are being so hateful. And I think this is what people forget about the entertainment industry is, and the entertainment industry is one of the most harsh industries out there. Feeling sorry for yourself is not going to get you to be successful in the entertainment industry. I'll tell you that now. What's going to get you that is perseverance and hard work and trying to always strive for excellence. That is going to show way more for itself, because A, even if the industry doesn't acknowledge you, the people can, and they can acknowledge you for your skills and talents. But B, if you look at so many of the people out there who are well known today, even Miley Cyrus, right? Miley Cyrus, who became Hannah Montana, did you know that she had been turned down? She auditioned and was turned down like 4 times. They didn't want to use her for Hannah Montana. And look where she is now. Look at the career that she's had. She wasn't even the one they wanted to choose. So many people, right, that are well known and famous today, they had to fight. So I think if people are going to talk about what people need, the fight is there for everyone. And the people I'm talking about now, I've just mentioned white people who've had to fight for their position, who've had to fight to get to where they are today. Jesy Nelson did not wake up today wake up overnight and she had all these fans. No, she was in a group where she had to endure hate, she had to endure mental health issues, she had to endure being compared to the other girls, whether it was them or herself or others. She had to endure all these things over the years to get to the point where Nicki Minaj and Diddy are having her on a song. So what work are people willing to put in to get there? And I promise you that if a lot of people would switch their attention off of the hate that they have and put that energy into their careers and into their progression, they will be getting a lot closer to where they want to be. Because I tell you something, guys, I'm going to do a whole separate video. It won't be like, I don't know if it'll be a Jesy video. I think it'll just be a normal channel video. And I'm going to talk about like how to address jealousy. Because to be honest with you, it's natural in life for us to feel jealous. It's natural that you can see somebody and you can feel jealous and like, oh, I feel like I want what they have, or I deserve what they have, right? I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, right? We're human beings. It's about what you do at that point. It's about how you treat that. A lot of people turn jealousy into inspiration. They turn jealousy into motivation. Oh, I've seen somebody do that, I want to do that. That's why you find so many people who are well known today. They can tell you who inspired them, you know, along the way, who came before them that inspired them to have the career that they had. You know, I'll give you an example that's not even from the black or white community. There was Selena, and she's like from the Latino, more the Latinx, I think is how you say it now. But she inspired, you know, the likes of Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez then inspired Adrienne Bailon is now like she was famous for, like, she was on Disney, she was on the Cheetah Girl, she was also in 3LW, you know, stuff like that. So you see how that chain works, where you see somebody living the life you want to live and you allow it to inspire you to work towards that, you know. And I use that example because I saw when Adrienne got to meet J-Lo, and she was like, oh my gosh, J-Lo is who I look up to, so yada yada yada. But then J-Lo was also like, J-Lo was saying like how she would be fangirling the same if she'd met, you know, Selena. So we've got to be honest with ourselves when it comes to jealousy, that yes, you might feel that way, but it's about what you do with that. And I think if you let it overtake you, and I talked about this to do with the story of Cain and Abel in the Bible, one of my previous videos, if you let it overtake you, it just turns you into an ugly person. And when I say ugly, I mean by character. And that's why this whole get uncomfortable thing that MNEK A is saying, that's weird to me. Why should people get uncomfortable? Why should people get uncomfortable? People should get comfortable with being able to support a diverse group of people. We should be able to be comfortable, you know, to address the issues that are out there. We shouldn't have to come from a place of uncomfortableness. Why should you have to be uncomfortable? Yes, it might make you feel uncomfortable a little bit initially. You might feel a bit out of place. You might feel like you don't understand something. People should not be forced to feel uncomfortable, because we can be very comfortable in a situation discussing real issues that go on amongst different races, different genders, or whatever it is, right? And think of ways to deal with them. Telling people, yes, get uncomfortable. What is that going to achieve? And I tell you something, I don't think any of these types of comments, this is just my opinion, right? I don't think these are affecting the top tier people, the gatekeepers in Hollywood at all, in the entertainment industry. I don't think they care for stuff like this. Because you know what? A lot of people who just care about, especially the ones who just care more about business, they don't want scandal. They don't want anything where, because they want to see consistent growth and they want to make money. And that's why I keep saying that, for especially if for a lot of us, not just black people, right, but social activism in general, I really think we need to dial it back. Because now, because everybody gets cancelled so easily for everything, and because everything becomes a social action thing, this is what I feel like is stopping people booking jobs. Because you know why? Right now, I'll tell you why I wouldn't want to book somebody like MNEK A. Because if I booked MNEK A and then he wasn't happy with exactly how everything was done, even though, let's say, I booked him because I saw that he felt like, you know, black people weren't getting enough shine, right, the shine that they deserved, then I would book him. But then my concern now is going to be, is it that he's now making a whole thing saying, well, you only hired three black people, you should have hired 5, and now it becomes a whole scandal. Now I can't even have my movie or whatever it is, or my song. Now people are saying to cancel me. Why would I hire somebody that's going to put that on my company? I could want to genuinely help and dealing with, but I would not want to if it's going to mean I'm not going to be successful. That's why I think it's better for people to just shut up in this day and age. That's why I think even the likes of somebody like Nicki Minaj, from whatever she saw, would rather support Jesy. You know why? Because Jesy ain't messy. Jesy ain't messy. Jesy ain't the one out here trying to be like, oh, I want, even till now, have you noticed? Jesy's not being messy. That could probably be why people want to work, the likes of Nicki Minaj want to work with her. because she's not out here having scandals or making everything. And I get it, guys, there are injustices we need to fight for in the world. I'm not saying not to fight for injustices. I'm just saying that as we are fighting for justice, let's also make sure that people are not just going to be cancelled if they don't do everything exactly the way we envision for them to, because when that happens, it puts people off working with us. I really think a lot of us Black people are putting people off working with us now. I think people are getting and don't want to get involved, because even if they want to support, they don't know how to support, because even when they try to support and they get it wrong, they still get cancelled. And it's not just for Black people. This goes for a lot of different communities. I think this happens also with the LGBTQ plus community in a lot of ways, you know, where members of that community, you know, some of them make it so difficult for people to want to be understanding or support them that it makes a lot of people just not want to involve them at all, you know. I remember I had a situation of somebody that I knew, and somebody that I knew was a female, and they got into a relation, or they knew of they started talking to a guy who was, you know, who was female at birth, right? And I knew this friend personally because we used to talk about her and the different guys that she spoke to, who she was dating. It was one of the things we used to talk about, right? Cool. So to me, this was just another person that she was talking to. Me and her were making no distinction as to the difference between this individual and any other person that she's spoken to, which, again, I feel like a lot of society is not as hateful as people try to make out like society is. Anyway, fast forward. In the end, she decided she didn't want to talk to this person anymore. And to me, that was the usual, because it happened. She would like talk to guys, get to know them. If it didn't work out. It was the norm. Okay, yeah, I'm not talking to that guy anymore, by the way. Okay, which guy are you talking to now? And that was kind of a funny thing that we used to do. But when this particular person got, when she stopped talking to this particular person, they then went on to their Instagram page to start talking about like how hard it was for them being, being losing somebody because of who they are as a person, which for me was crazy, because I was on the outside. I was the one who knew this girl, who'd seen her been talking to different guys and just, you know, dating as people do. She just wasn't interested. It was nothing to do with the fact that I mean, why would she even be talking to them if it was anything to do with them being, you know, trans, right? But they made it about that, right? And so it made that situation, you can understand why somebody like in her situation might say, well, I don't necessarily want to even consider somebody like that again, because I don't want to be in a situation where people are now cancelling me. Imagine that happened on a grand level. Imagine she was wildly famous and people knew about the fact that they were talking, or they'd been seen together talking in tabloids or whatever that happens in this day and age. Imagine that happened. Imagine she just did the same thing she did with any other person she was dating, and then they made a whole scandal. Imagine she released a song, and then that person, you know, sent a DM to a Nohan and said, you shouldn't be dancing to her song. You should be calling out the fact that she's transphobic. Do you see why there's a problem here? And do you see why I say that even though sometimes overly making everything about a social action thing, it doesn't help us in society. It really doesn't. What helps is us making our own, wherever we are, you know, educating the people around us, keeping ourselves educated, right? But having a level head, because I'll tell you something, guys, the problem with being with social action is it puts us in a state of being overly emotional. And when we get to being overly emotional, and when I say overly emotional, I'm not talking about like being depressed and stuff like that. I'm not talking about that. Not talking about that. I'm talking about where you feel so hard done by that you are the victim and no one else in this world is more of a victim than you. You don't think clearly. You don't think clearly. And also you're easy to manipulate. We talk about this in Christianity a lot, how, you know, I believe one of the reasons why God talks so much about having a sound mind, you know, about being slow to speak, you know, slow to anger. It's because he's warning us that when you are in an a particularly emotional state, you are a lot more easy to be manipulated, and you're a lot more easy to do things that you wouldn't do when you're not in that emotional state. You're not thinking clearly, right? You're not thinking clearly. Doing stuff like this, MNEK doing stuff like this, it doesn't help. It doesn't help Black people at all. It makes us look worse. It makes us look worse. What would have helped is for him to do something like Tyler Perry and him to say, you know what, I'm a producer. I'm going to produce for 10 new artists in 2022. And I'm going to handpick them. And I'm going to fund their first single. You know, or I'm not going to work with certain people unless they do this. You know, you were in, and let's not forget, he was producing for Little Mix. Little Mix only had Leanne in terms of anybody with, like, you know, any Black heritage. if you're so caring about black people, why are you so close to Little Mix? Surely more people of color deserve the shine. Surely you should be with a group of people or with other artists who deserve the shine more, because you're giving up your time for 3 white people who you're saying need to get uncomfortable. So are you saying that Perry and Jade need to get uncomfortable because they're white, or at least from my understanding? Do you see how it just doesn't really make sense? And that's why I like making these videos, and that's why I like to look at this stuff and really think about it, and really think about this not from a place of emotion. Like, it's tough for me to say a lot of this stuff, because a lot of people, there was even a girl on Twitter, who was a black woman, who was trying to say that Jesy is blackfishing, and I was like, no, she isn't. And she's like, yes, she is, it's a fact. And I'm like, it's not a fact, it's your opinion. Because people are so caught up in their emotion that we're not thinking straight. And we're not thinking about business. That's why Nicki Minaj can collaborate with something like Jesy, because she's not messy. She went and dealt with what she needed to deal with in private with the people that care about her. Then the next time she comes out, it's with her album with her single. And again, what is Jesy doing right now? Quiet. She's pretty quiet. She's throwing out little hints and this and that, of course. But she's not kicking up a massive fuss. She's still not going out of her way to talk negatively about people or throw shade or whatever. There's probably so much tea she could spill about these girls that she's choosing not to. And not just these girls, even maybe MNEK and other people, because maybe he was one of the people that might have been making her feel uncomfortable, and like she wasn't wanted. So I just personally feel that, and I'm gonna try and wrap up now because my videos are so long. My Jesy videos are so long. I really think we need to veer off of this whole thing about making things about race and whatnot. If you have identified a problem, do you know what my mum used to say to me in church one time? She said to me, if you're bothered about something, that could be a sign that God has destined for you to be the solution, to help bring the solution to that problem. That's what my mum said to me, right? When I was in church one day, and I took that on board for the rest of my life, that if there's something that's bothering me, because at the time when she told me, I was complaining about something that was happening, and I think it was something even within church itself, right? It's one of the reasons why I, talk about God and stuff in the way that I do now, is because I saw an issue with how Christians present themselves in the world, right? And how people present the things of God, and it angered me. It angered me that I felt like church was more for people that were already in the church, but I felt like if you're somebody who's already got the gift of God, surely you would want to spread that gift to people who don't have that gift or don't understand it yet, So rather than complaining for the rest of my life and saying things like to other people, you know what, Christians, mother me standing up in the church and being like, you know what, Christians, people who aren't Christians deserve more shine. Guess what I did instead? I said, okay, God, prepare me. Is this why I'm so bothered about it? And that's one of the reasons I talk about a lot of this stuff so much, along with the stuff to do with my faith on this channel. That's exactly why I do it. So that rather than me just complaining and calling people out for nothing, and I do call out certain things, right, that needs to be called out, but I call out issues themselves. I don't just call out people for nothing with the problems I'm not prepared to jump in and help solve myself. And again, if you're not prepared to solve the problem, no one's saying you have to solve every problem. You just don't have to talk about it then. There are many things that I'm not happy about in the world that go on. And do you know why I don't comment on them? Because I don't intend on doing anything about them. The things that I talk about on my channel, majority of them, I plan on doing something about it. I have a plan as to how I'm going to respond to that. And I'm bringing it to people's attention so that if they are feeling the same way, we can all discuss how we're going to solve those issues. We can all discuss how we're going to live differently. Or what we're going to do, what's the solution to that thing. And that's what I feel like. If you're going to complain about something, you be the problem. You drop everything you'll do. Your MNEK A, you drop everything you want to do, you're doing, and do everything for black people. You only work with black people. If that's how deep it is for you. Don't come on here and start talking about people and saying, from the heart, I just want to take this time to promote some talented black female artists. Why are you having to take the time? If you're so dedicated to black female artists, you should have been doing that. That should have been the normal thing you should have been doing all the time, constantly, if you cared so much about it. Because I tell you something, guys, do you know why I post every single day on this channel? I post every single day, partially because God told me, but I post every single day on this channel because that's how much I care about the stuff that I talk about on here. That's how much. And I'm not making a penny off of YouTube. Not a penny. I'm not making any money at all. right? And I'm not mad about it because I'm happy. I live happy, guys. I couldn't tell you. I am so happy. I am so much peace with the Lord. Me and God are just in love with each other, and just He's speaking to me. I'm speaking to Him. I'm speaking to you guys. I'm getting to know you guys. I'm living literally the best years of my life right now. I'm in the best season of my life. So for me, listening to somebody like MNEK A saying this is nonsense. You have a platform. You're making money. You're doing all these things. From what you're doing, you make it happen. You make it happen, mate. Wouldn't cost him much. Wouldn't cost him much to say, guess what? I'm gonna pay for a studio. I'm gonna pay for I'm gonna pick five towns in England, and I'm going to pay for 400 hours of studio in each of those towns for 3 people to share or something. Do you know what I mean? There are always things we can do. I'm a problem solver, guys. I'm one of my skills in life is that I'm great at problem solving. That's why I think I'm good with numbers, and I love science, right? I'm great at problem solving. That's why when people have problems and they don't come up with a solution for themselves of what they can do, I'm looking at you like, even Jesy, she's a problem solver. Do you know what she did? She wasn't working out for her. Her mental health went bad twice. Guess what she said? You know what? Gonna need to step away now. I'm going to solve my problem. I'm not waiting for people to solve my problem. I just need time to myself. And that's why when she took time to herself, I think that's why it even bothered people so much, because it's like, who are you to be so... Because people didn't think she was going to come back to music, or did you think she was going to be broken forever? No, she wasn't there feeling like a victim. She was there saying, I need to deal with this. And once I deal with this, I'm getting back into the game. And I'm getting back into what I'm doing. And she even said after the fact, I saw on Instagram one of you guys' posts, and one of you baddies posts, I saw that she said, something like, now that she's been through all of this, she wants to also go out of her way now to support people who've been through what she's been through. Now, now that she's come out of it, you see, she's not here acting like a victim. She's not here like, people beg, guys, help me. And I'm not saying that there's wrong things with getting help, right? I'm not saying that. There's nothing wrong, because we do need to ask for help, and we do need to call things out. Things do need to be called out. What I'm saying is that at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, if we're going to be sending out messages like this and talking about who deserves more shine, and I know I keep picking out that one thing, but those of you who are on my channel, I'm like, I always find the little detail, and I hone in on why this is something we shouldn't ignore. And we're going to say others being white people, yes, get uncomfortable. How about before we get to that stage of having to call people out in that manner, we just create the solutions ourselves. That's what I think we should do. So, I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. As is a lot of these Jesy videos, my video is really long, but I appreciate that you guys actually watch the whole video. Like, when one of you guys said in my previous videos that you actually watched all my videos to the end, I was like, you guys are my people. You guys are my people. I love you all so much. Baddies, my subscribers, new and old. If you haven't subscribed, you should subscribe, because I'm posting every day at 9 p.m. my Jesy videos. I do have details in the description box if you guys want to talk and let me know your thoughts. Just know, guys, I'm gonna get to it. I know I keep saying this. It's because I want you guys to believe that I'm genuine when I say I will get through everything. There is just a lot of stuff, and it's just, I'm also a very busy gal these days, but I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. Don't worry about me. Don't feel sorry for me. I'm thriving. It's just that, there's literally only 24 hours in a day. I'm not mad about it though. I'm enjoying this journey. I'm enjoying, everything with you guys. And I just want to say, guys, this is no hate towards MNEK A or anybody like that. Again, I have to stress this, because sometimes I realize in society you can never assume that people know something. You gotta say things, and that's a food for thought, or even advice. I don't really like to give advice, but food for thought for you guys. Just know that if you haven't said something in a clear way, then people might not know it, even though you might think that it's so obvious. So I like to say that it's not hate against MNEK A. I'm analysing the situation because he went out of his way to tell white people that they should feel uncomfortable to come to on the day of Jesy's single release, talk about he wants to take time to promote some talented black female artists who he feels deserve more of the shine than others. What others are getting, whatever. That to me is kind of ugly behaviour. Jesy and her fans and her friends and family have experienced so much hate, so much lies and everything being spread about them, and he has helped towards that. There was somebody who responded to his tweet with something like, oh, I'm so glad you said that, or something. Some people were bigging him up. So in the same way that he wants to be critical, I'm going to criticize as well. And that opens me up to criticism. And that's why I take my time to try my best to articulate myself and say things exactly as I mean them and try and be clear. But that's also why I continually talk about on my channel, and I've made videos just about this. Now, I am not perfect. I am not a perfect person. I don't believe anybody was perfect except from Jesus, right? I don't believe anybody was. I am a work in progress, and that's why I love hearing from you guys in my comment section, because you guys help me to know what's right, what's wrong, where I need to improve, where I need to change my mind. I've taken videos down because people have criticized my video and they've made good points and they've said, you doesn't seem like you knew what you're talking about here, and I'll take the video down. I have no problem in doing that because I'm a work in progress, as we all are, right? Just putting that out there so we have that understanding. But I know you guys know that, but just so that it's said, because it's good to say things just so that they are said, you know? Other than that, I appreciate every single one of you who's supporting me, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's sharing my videos, whether it's commenting. I appreciate, even if you're just hitting the like and that's it. I appreciate that so much, guys. You guys have absolutely no idea how much I appreciate it. Like, so much of the things that I talk about are things that I've experienced myself, as I've said, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I don't want to see other people go through the struggles I've been through. And so to see people that understand where I'm coming from, it kind of saddens me in one sense, because it shows that we've probably all been through these things, and it's sad that we have. But also it's really nice for me. Like, it's really such a nice experience, because I feel like I found my people. I feel like I found people who understand what I've been through, who understand what it's like, you know, so we can all be there for each other. I'm praying for all of you. I love all of you. All of you have a purpose in this world. Do not give up. Even though the world is a very ugly place, there is still light. The light is still shining, and it shines through us. And I thank God that every single one of you is alive. And I pray that you are all well. God bless you all in the name of Jesus. And I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.